everyone, and welcome in our webinar about recruiting on Instagram. It's our first webinar in our new office,
Yes.
So we're a bit excited. Hope all the technical stuff will work well. Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me, if you can see us. I'm also going to share our slides. Let me see. There you go. Yes.
There you go.
So
everything loud and clear.
Yes, all right. First of all, we're going to introduce ourselves. I'm Stephanie. I'm the marketing lead at Simple, and next to me stands Mark. He's one of the founders of Simple. We're here today to talk about recruiting on Instagram, which is a really good platform to find great talent. Now, during the webinar, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask them in the chat. You have the option to ask them privately or in the group chat, whatever you want. We're also going to publish some polls to make it a bit more interactive.
That's why my only role today is to publish polls and to answer questions. So if you don't answer questions, I have nothing to do. So please.
Please ask questions.
Please ask questions.
Yes.
We're going to interrupt Stephanie and she hates that.
All right, what is on the agenda for today? Well, of course, why should you recruit on Instagram? Why is it a good platform? Then we're going to talk about the setup, because there is some marketing setup before you can actually develop your campaign. We're going to talk about the development, of course, which pictures, which copy you need to do some successful recruitment campaigns, how you manage your campaign, which is also important because, of course, you have a media budget, you pay for it, so you want the best return on investment. And then we're also going to share some successful experiments with you with all our tips and tricks over more than, I think now 9,000 recruitment campaigns, which we did already at Simple.
I thought you were going to say 9 years. But
9 years, that's a bit...
It hasn't been that long.
What do we do at Simple? Well, we try to provide qualified candidates, and we do this through very targeted advertising on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And we have built a user-friendly software to set up your campaigns yourself as well. Here are some numbers from what we do at Simple. I want to highlight the left one on the
top.
Well,
that's the one you want to show.
Yeah, definitely. So we analyze 11 million data points per month, which is of course a lot. We're not doing this by ourselves. We have an algorithm for that, but it is important to know that you need to have some knowledge about all the data and all the metrics that you can see in the ad accounts of Facebook and Instagram. Here you can see some of our customers. We have multinationals, but also some small enterprises. But let's start. First of all, why should you recruit on Instagram? And I think we're going to launch our first
As I speak,
poll.
I've done my first action of today. So basically, you should see a poll on the right-hand side of your screen, where you can tell us whether you have done a paid recruitment campaign. So basically not just posted, you actually paid for advertising. And I'll give it a couple of seconds to see. And okay, so interesting. About 25% of people have done already.
Okay.
75%, but we promise we have interesting stuff for both of you, whether you have done it or not, but we'll take you through everything that's needed together. Okay, thanks for that. And maybe can I use this to ask a question to the audience for a little surprise we have?
Of course.
I'll do that now. I'm not sure whether we're not going to do that now. We would like to kind of go live and put up an advertising, recruitment advertising for one of the people in the audience. So I'm just going to look at the chat now. If you can maybe put some brands in there where you want us to build a real life recruitment campaign on Instagram. Let's see, nobody's reacting yet. You're still waking up maybe a bit. So if you put Le Pain Quotidien, that's a nice one. Zara, that's also a good one. TUI, Nike, okay, okay, good. Let's go. Let's see who was first. I think Le Pain Quotidien was first. So we'll go with the Le Pain Quotidien as the, I guess what they would need is probably, I think it's retail assistant. You worked at Banco today.
I know.
I just realized that. What are the chances? Steph, so what was your job at Banco today?
Well, I did everything.
She did everything. So that's going to be difficult for the vacancy.
Yeah, I think something with restaurant manager,
restaurant manager. Let's do that.
Management assistant.
Okay, we'll do that at the end.
Yes. Good. All right. Cool. Mark already mentioned it, but we're going to talk about paid recruitment campaigns, and I just want to show you what the difference is. So on the left, you can see an organic post. This is the post which you can write on your business profile or on your personal profile on Instagram. But on the right side, you see a paid advertisement. It looks the same, but you will see that on the bottom of the right advertisement, you see a call to action, you see a sign up button. There isn't a link, but if you click on anything which you can see on the right, then you go to the vacancy page. On the left, you see that we use a link. So, and also, which is important, organic doesn't work. So if you have
a bold statement at the start of the webinar.
But that's true. If you have lots of followers, then only 3% of your followers will actually see the post. Of course, if lots of people engage with it, then it will go up a bit. But only 3% of your followers will see the post. With paid recruitment campaigns, with paid advertisements, you can actually target your right audience for your job vacancy. So we're a big believer of paid recruitment campaigns. Now, why should you actually start with recruiting on Instagram? Well, 20% of the actual job market is actually looking for a job. They're looking on job boards, they're looking on Google, on Indeed, Monster, or other job boards. But 80% isn't actually actively looking for a job. But of course, you can reach them where they are every single day. And where is that? On social media. And Instagram, of course, is one of them. On average, what was it again? On average, users cross 160 meters a day, which is really a lot on their smartphone. So you have to pop out with your vacancy, with your recruitment campaign on those platforms. I also want to share some numbers about Instagram, the platform itself in Belgium. So there are more than 4 million active users, almost 5, which is really a lot. It's also the third mostly used social media platform. The first one is Facebook, second one is Pinterest, and the third one is Instagram.
The poll is there.
Yes, I just wanted to...
We just launched the poll
all right.
to ask you how many people you think are older than 24 years old.
Yes.
And just to reassure you, we don't think that's old. That's still, you're still at the prime of your life if you're 24. Okay, so we have about, let's say, let's split up. It's a good mix. So most people think that they are between 40 and 50%. Let's say half of the audience is older than 24.
Right.
So let's, that seems to be the biggest answer here. Yeah.
Okay, all right. The actual number is 69%, is older than 25 years old. So yes, your audience is on Instagram for every job function. And I'm going to share lots of examples, which we did for our clients during the presentation. So you'll see that we find every function on Instagram. Now, before you can actually start with setting up your campaign, there are some basics which you need to get right before you can actually develop or set up your campaign. These are all the things that you need to do. I'm going to highlight a couple of them. First of all, and this is a really important one, you have to install the Facebook Pixel or the Meta Pixel, which is now the new name of Facebook. Which you also need to do when you're willing to do Instagram recruitment campaigns. Maybe we can launch another poll because I just want to get to know the audience a bit more. Who already installed the Facebook Pixel or the Meta Pixel, which is the same.
All right, I'm going to check here. I'm looking for the poll. launching it now. So you should see that now. And maybe just to kind of reiterate, Meta is the name of the group on top of Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. So it's actually the bigger group and not just including Facebook. Wow, that's interesting numbers. So 1/3 of people has installed the Meta Pixel.
All right.
30% hasn't. No? Well, actually, the smallest part doesn't know what the Pixel is about. So let's maybe explain that a bit more in detail first.
Yes. So the Facebook or the Meta Pixel is a piece of code that you have to install on your website. Why do you need to install that? Well, because you want to track conversions. A conversion can be an application, for example, on your website, but it can also be a click to your website. It can be anything. But Meta or Facebook or Instagram needs to know when a conversion is taking place, because then he will optimize, or it will optimize your campaign in the best possible way. This is really, really important. So if you want to start with recruitment campaigns on Instagram, please install the Facebook Pixel first, because this is really, really important.
We have a comment from Stephanie to make it a bit meta. Triple meta. There we go. Comment from Stephanie is, we installed the Pixel. It's not 100% sure that it's working correctly. It's a bit technical. Smiley.
Right.
We can agree with that. Maybe you can kind of briefly touch on that, Steph.
Yeah, I'm going to actually, my next slide is about how to install it really briefly. But I don't know if we can already share our academy maybe, because we actually have written a white paper about recruiting on Facebook and Instagram, and there all the steps on how you have to install the Facebook Pixel is in it. So maybe you can have a look over there for really the technical setup of it.
So I'm sharing that with you now, but you have to promise you stay within this webinar, you don't leave. Because there's amazing content in the academy. If you go there, you're never going to return, right? So protect yourself. Just open that link only when we have finished this webinar.
All right. Unfortunately, you could build audiences with the Facebook Pixel in the past, but not anymore yet. If you're doing recruitment campaigns on Facebook or Instagram, then you have to mention it to Instagram, like, okay, I'm doing a campaign for recruitment, for employment. And then there are some restrictions about targeting, and unfortunately, you can't use a pixel anymore to build audiences or do retargeting for your recruitment campaigns. But like I said, you have to install it to track the conversions. Where to start? Of course, you need a website, because if you're doing recruitment campaigns on Instagram, when people click on it, they have to come to your vacancy page, to your website. You need Instagram, of course. And then what I also want to mention right now is that don't use Instagram on its own, but use also Facebook, maybe a bit of LinkedIn, or maybe TikTok now, because you need to have like a large group of platforms to actually do performance recruitment campaigns. You can also use job boards, and of course, you need to track when an application has taken place. Now, you have to combine all these platforms and all these things to actually track in the right way your performance of your campaigns. We recommend to also install Google Analytics. Google Analytics is also a piece of code that you need to install on your website. And then you will see dashboards in Google Analytics where you can actually track, like, where do they click on my website, how long do they stay, and lots more. Google Tag Manager is a platform which you can use to, well, easily, it's not that easily, but to install all the Facebook Pixel events, the data from LinkedIn, everything you can combine in Google Tag Manager, but you have to have some marketing know-how, some technical know-how to set all those things correctly online. What you also need to do is, probably you already seen a link, for example, on Highland with lots, which is really, really long. and you see that there are UTM parameters, UTM tags behind the question mark. So here you can see an example of a link which we use when we launch campaigns. Why do we do that? Well, when an application is taking place or when someone clicks on your advertisement, you want to know where they come from. Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Is it maybe TikTok? You want to know on which campaign did they click? Which audience have we targeted with that campaign? Which visual did you use? Which copy did you use? These are all important things, so you know which advertisement is working well and which isn't working well. Once you have built your links correctly to use in your advertisement, you can also see some dashboards in Google Analytics like this one. So you can immediately see like how many candidates came from paid traffic, how many candidates came from Facebook, from LinkedIn, Instagram, Google, etc. But you can customize those dashboards as well in Google Analytics itself. But it gives you a good idea on where your candidates come from. I also want to share with you this funnel. What is a funnel? It's actually a visualization of all the steps that a person takes to come to a hire. Well, hopefully you come to a hire. So first of all, you have the attract phase. In the attract phase, you will show your advertisement. You will attract the right audience to click to your vacancy. When they come to your vacancy, hopefully they click on the call to action button and they can apply. What we use is an interactive chatbot. It's an online questionnaire where people can leave their details and then an application has taken place. And then hopefully you come to a hire. And with all these steps, you can use Google Analytics to actually track all the different steps that a person takes so you can optimize in the right way. Because if you see that you have lots of impressions in the attract phase, but nobody clicks on your advertisement, then maybe you have to adjust your advertisement. If people come on your vacancy page, lots of people come to your vacancy page and they don't apply, then maybe you should adjust. There is maybe a discrepancy between your campaign and your vacancy page. Maybe there's something on your vacancy page where people don't know if they're preferable for the job or not. So this is important to know that because you put media budget in it, that you optimize, that you track it, and you optimize it in the correct way. A conversion rate, what do I mean by that? Well, for example, when you have 50 applications and 1,250 people have viewed your vacancy page, then you have a conversion rate of 4%. This is a good percentage, but if it's lower, if it's higher, then you can adjust your campaign in the right way. And when you know this, you can also calculate the conversion rate of every channel. For example, then you know that you have to put more media budget in Facebook than in Instagram or in job boards, for example, like you see here. Once you have set up all those things, the Facebook pixel, Google Analytics pixel, the UTM parameters, you can actually begin with your campaign. And also in the development of your campaign, there are some steps which you need to take in mind before you can actually set it up. First of all, when you go to Ads Manager, Meta Ads Manager is an ad account to set up Instagram recruitment campaigns. And there are some components which you need to take in mind for actually setting up your campaign. And the top level is, of course, a campaign level. There you have to choose your objective. Underneath the campaign, you have ad set level. And on ad set level, you will define your targeting, you will define your budget, and you will define the different channels. And then underneath the ad set level, you have the ad level. And this is a video, a picture, or a carousel with some copy. Here you have an example on an ad of Instagram feed. So you see we use the visual and some copy underneath to actually attract the right people. Now I'm going to explain every step in detail right now. All right, so there are lots of advertising objectives, campaign objectives, which you can choose from when you go to the ad account of Instagram. what we recommend is to use sales. I know it's a bit tricky because an application is not really a sales procedure, but underneath sales, you can set up your conversions, and you can say to Facebook, okay, this is when an application is taking place, so you have a performance campaign. Once you have defined your objective, you go to the ad set level, and then you have to define your target audience. Now, like I already said, when you're doing a recruitment campaign, you have to let it know to Meta that you're doing employment campaigns. And since December the 7th, 2021, there are some restricted targeting options, which you can't, well, there were targeting options which you can't really use anymore. We're not really sure why Meta is doing this, but I mean, we think that it's something to do with GDPR, discrimination, etc.
And possible lawsuits, I guess.
Yes, definitely. So now, once you do a recruitment campaign on Facebook, you have to declare it to Facebook, and this is called a special ad campaign.
Okay. Maybe just one comment, or there's a couple of questions, people asking whether they will receive the recordings. I can confirm, yes, we will send out the recordings. And then there was also a question on whether whether meta-analytics are linked by definition. And just to briefly answer on that, and I think Nathan, you stepped in, thank you for that. These are two separate platforms, so you will have to link them. And depending on how good you want to do that, it could get quite complicated, right? Mm-hmm. Especially with some restrictions from, for instance, Apple iOS 14.5, which hasn't made things easier. We're not going to go into detail to that today. Yeah. We have another webinar on that, where we go, which you can also find in the Academy, all that good stuff in the Academy, for free. Have we said that already? Yes. So thanks for asking those questions. I'll let you continue.
All right. Now, what can you still define from targeting options on the Meta platform? First of all, your location. If you're looking for an account manager in Antwerp, then you can point Antwerp as a city, and then with a radius around it. What we recommend is a radius of 20 kilometers. So you have like a broad audience to target, and the algorithm of Facebook will work in the best way. And also the algorithm of Instagram, of course. Unfortunately, or unfortunately not, you can't use demographics anymore. Before you could say like an age range, or you could say I will only target men or women. That's not possible anymore when you're doing recruiting campaigns on Instagram. But there are still some interests which you can use. For example, if you're looking for a digital marketeer, then there is an interest, digital marketing or marketing, which you can use, and then, well, you try to, you don't know what Facebook is actually using as data to target those interests, but you might target people that are interested in digital marketing. And then data, you can't use it anymore, unfortunately, because you can't, for the people who know, you can't build custom or lookalike audiences anymore on the ad account. So you have to do it with location and interests. Now, what are the placements on Instagram? Because Instagram is a platform, but of course you have lots of placements underneath. Here you can find them. Instagram feed, Instagram profile feed is a new one. It's actually advertisements. When you go to a profile of someone on Instagram, then you can see some advertisement as well on the profile itself. Instagram is Explore, is where you can search for certain posts. Instagram Shop is more for e-commerce. And then you have Instagram Reels and Instagram Stories. And we use for our recruitment campaigns only Instagram feed, Instagram Reels, and Instagram Stories. The other ones, I think we might experiment in the future with Instagram profile feed. We haven't done it yet because it's a new placement, but all the other ones aren't really helpful to find candidates online. Now, once you have defined which placement you want to use for your advertisement, then you have to build your ads, of course. And what we recommend is to have a look at Ads Library. What is that? It's actually a platform where you can find the advertisement that a company is running. What is important, it's not your competitors of your company, but you're competing to companies that also want to target your audience. And maybe we can go live really quickly to Ads Library, so I can show you immediately what you can find over there. So this is the Ads Library, and maybe say a company in the chat, so we can search for it right away if they are running ads at this moment, of course.
So we have young financials. I think, or young. Let's do Young Capital. I think that's a company in Young Space Capital. I think it's a staffing agency. Let's take this one.
This one? All right.
In the Netherlands, and we can see here what they're running.
So here you can see. I'm going to make it maybe a bit bigger. So here you can see which ads they're running at this moment. You can see which visual they use, you can see their copy, and you can also see on which platforms they do it. So Instagram, Facebook, Audience Network, and Messenger. You can see the multiple versions, etc. It can give you some inspiration about how you have to build your advertisements. Maybe one more?
Yeah, one more. Well, I have some kind of the brand stats here. DOW, DOW. It's a chemical company. I'm not sure if we will... if they have, let's just click on more advertisers. No, it doesn't look like they are. There you are. This one.
This one?
That's the one.
All right. But is it a Belgian company?
It's a international company. So they're not, well, what we know now is they're not running employment ads in Belgium. Maybe if we click on international, I know then we won't see specific ads. Let's see. Somebody asked for say Andres Consulting. Let's have a look. Andres A&B-R. That's this consulting. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Bingo.
So here you can see all the visuals. You see that they also use a video, which is also a really good format to use on Instagram. But it can give you some inspiration, but don't copy paste it, of course. Be original with your advertisement, which you want to use in your recruitment campaign.
Yeah, maybe just going back, because I see a couple of questions going back on the new rules from Facebook as far as employment ads are concerned. Mm-hmm. So just to reiterate on that, maybe Facebook has changed the rules. That means you do not have the same targeting possibilities anymore that you still have. If you would run, if you're working for a shoe company, you want to target people to sell your shoes, you can still have everything at your disposal within Facebook, but it's going to be restricted for employment ads. And yes, you have to tick the box. So when you launch employment ads, be sure to tick that box, right? Because if you don't, because you think, well, it's going to make it easier for me to target because I can use all the other opportunities, Facebook will find out and they will basically block your account. Yeah. And I can tell you, Facebook blocks your account. That's not a good day because it's going to take you at least 2 weeks to get somebody on the phone who is able to.
Yeah, you won't get anyone on the phone.
Well, not on the phone. Yeah. I mean, to talk to a live agent, right? It's going to take a lot of time. In the meantime, your ads will be blocked, your account will be blocked, and you're not going to be able to do anything. So we would strongly advise to follow the rules at that stage. Mm-hmm. And if you publish an employment ad, tell Facebook this is an employment ad. Yes, it will restrict your possibilities in targeting, but there is no upside.
No.
The upside is going to make life easy for you in the next 3 minutes when you launch your ad, but after that, it's going to make life a lot more complicated. Question from Ronnie, that's then for you, Steph, I think.
Yeah.
Why do you recommend the sales option rather than leads? And in the meantime, I will share the link to the Ads Library in the chat.
Yeah. All right. So we recommend on Instagram to use sales instead of leads. Why is it? Well, we experimented with the leads as well as an objective, but we did see that there were lots of leads coming in. For those who don't know what lead is, when you see an advertisement on Facebook, you can also have the option to fill in your details on Facebook itself, and then you have a lead. Well, we experimented with it. We had lots of leads coming in, but then we also have sent them an email to actually fulfill their application. And we did see a big conversion loss. That's one. And we did see that the quality of the leads wasn't really good. But what I want to say as a tip, we also experimented with TikTok, with leads generations. And there it works better than conversion. I know it's a bit, how do you say it?
Counterintuitive.
Yeah, indeed. But you have to experiment with it. And well, here you have a tip for free. We have tested with it, we experimented with it, and sales works well best for us.
Okay, and then a follow-up question from Romy, but I will pick on that. So she asks, when you click that option, do you send them to your website? Yes, you always have to tell Meta where people have to go when they click, and then we would advise to send them to your vacancy page.
But that's not the case with the leads, huh?
No,
Yeah,
that's
okay,
not the case with
all
this.
right.
No, but this is the sales option.
Okay.
Question whether we experimented with the traffic objective, and whether that works better on sales.
Yeah, we experimented with that as well, but Facebook will optimize your campaign on clicks, on landing page views, on many people to come to your website, but it won't optimize to actually do a conversion, to actually apply on your vacancy page. So we are a fan of sales.
Yeah. It's a bit of a philosophical or more long-term question from Harold about what will happen after the 1st of January 2024, when it will become more difficult to target due to new legislation, and whether it will be any use at all. Do I take this question? Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, look, Harold, if we would be able to look in the future, that would make our life a lot easier. I think that we've weathered a couple of storms. I mean, there was the 7th of December 2021, when already a part of the data was not available anymore. In September 2022, there were new restrictions. We've always there's always ways to tackle that. There was iOS 14.5, which restricted capabilities. To be very clear, I'm not saying that you should look for ways to circumvent legislation, right? At all. I do not think it will be like shooting blinds. I think the targeting possibilities versus job boards versus offline advertising possibilities are still going to be a lot more interesting as far as we are concerned. So I think what we would strongly advise is to kind of try and start learning about how you can use online media as part of your recruitment as quickly as possible, because then you'll be better prepared for next year in order to fine-tune your strategies, in order to fine-tune your approach, and then deal with it later. I don't think it's a good strategy to then say, well, it's all going to be shit anyway. That's not because your competitors are using it today. That's why we've showed the ads library. But obviously, that's a question about where you want to put your resources and your focus at this stage. Okay, let's continue.
All right. So once you have had a look at ads library, you can actually build your campaigns. Now, how does it need to look like? Well, there is an aspect ratio which you need to apply when you're doing Instagram recruitment campaigns, when you're doing Instagram campaigns as a whole. Feed will be a bit smaller. Stories and reels will be really vertical. So you see here the difference. I will show the videos as well. You need to take that in mind. You have to upload the right format. This is a video, but you can also use pictures as well. But make sure that it's the right format once you create your advertisements. All right. What is an A/B test? An A/B test is actually an experiment that you run. For example, here you see two different pictures, an A version and a B version. And what we recommend is, if you have two pictures, then set them both online on the Instagram platform. Let it run for a couple of days, and after a couple of days you will see the data coming in, and you will see which one is performing best for your target audience. Because what we see is if a company has lots of pictures and they say like, oh, maybe this one is better than the other one, well, we don't know, and we just let them run in Instagram, and then the results come in and you can immediately see which one is working best for your target audience. All right. What can we give you as some tips and tricks about your visuals? The first one is use authentic pictures. And this is a really, really important one. I really want to highlight this because you can find lots of stock images online. You can search for any picture you want on the internet, but we don't recommend it. Use authentic pictures, and you don't have to hire a professional photographer for it. No, just make them, take them with your mobile. Also, the picture that you see on the right is taken with a smartphone. Use authentic pictures because people want to know with who they are going to work, where they are going to work. Make that immediately clear. The second one is think of thumb-stopping images. People are scrolling 160 meters a day, apparently, on average. And you need to pop out with your advertisements. If you're using a picture, then make sure that it's a picture that attracts the right audience. If you're using a video, then make sure that the first, well, I would say the first second, but the first 2 seconds are really important to actually stop users to scroll, and that they have a look at your video to eventually click to your vacancy page. And then the third one, use uniform communication. What do I mean by that? Show your brand immediately on your advertisement. People want to know where they are going to work. Use those colors as well. Maybe in a banner, make sure the function title is immediately clear to also stop people from scrolling. But also use those pictures and use those colors on your vacancy page, because Facebook will not only have a look at the performance of your campaigns, but also what people do on your vacancy page. If you click, if you have lots of clicks on your advertisements, but people go away immediately because they think that it's another page because it's not uniform communication, that's a pity. So use those colors as well on your website. And then, of course, keep the platform in mind. This is about Instagram, but Instagram is a whole other platform than Facebook or TikTok or LinkedIn. So have a look at also the best practices about those platforms as well.
Just if I can interrupt, there's a question on whether you will receive a certification of participation on the webinar. I think we can confirm, yes. It will be sent out with the mail afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah. But of course, only to the people who stay till the very end.
Yeah, of course.
That's how devious we are. No, just kidding. Okay.
Another one?
Yes, there's another question. Mm-hmm. What happened with the can you advertise stories and feed posts at the same time with different dimensions?
Mm-hmm. Yes, you can. We don't really recommend it because then you give Facebook, the algorithm of Facebook will immediately give more budget to one format, to one placement. But maybe the other placement is also working, maybe not as good as the other one, but maybe it is still working. So what we do is once we launch a campaign for our clients, then we use different ad sets with different placements. So we can actually track really good, like, okay, which platform is working well. But you can if you want to.
Maybe a link to that is that whether we recommend dynamic advertising, where we load in all the formats, let the algorithm do the thing, or manual placements.
Yeah.
Same answer.
Yeah.
The more you control yourself, the more you will learn. Mm-hmm. The more you can kind of understand why things are working. But of course, it will also depend on the time you have and the budget. To put set ad sets. And then we come back to budget in a second. Then a quite detailed one. What conversion event do you select for sales campaign objective? Mm-hmm. As a lead submit application is not available for the sales objective.
Which event?
Which conversion event do you select for sales?
All right. I do think we can mention it. Yeah. The 3075. Yeah. All right. So what we did is we installed a conversion event, a sales event. which is called 3075. And what is it? It's actually an event when people scroll 75% of the vacancy page or stay at least 30 seconds on the vacancy page, then a conversion event is taking place. And this information is sent back to Facebook. So that is for us a conversion.
Yes. If that explanation sounds complicated, it is. Right. It is. And that's why, we're happy to share it, because it's not easy to set up your website to do so. But that's actually what we think is a better approach. There's a question from Alexandra on the approximate costs of a campaign, but we'll come back to that. Yeah. So I'm going to park that, but we come back to that, Alexandra, later. And a question from Kelly on why would I make that as a conversion, because it's not relevant for a client. Mm-hmm. You're right, but you want to give Facebook as much as data as possible mm-hmm. on what good candidates or potential good candidates are. And that's the data we use. Okay. And Kelly already agrees with me, so thank you, Kelly, for pointing that out. Good, let's continue.
All right. Like I already said, never ever use stock images and too much text. In the past, there was a rule of Facebook where you can only use 20% of the image with text. That rule isn't available anymore, but what we see is too much text doesn't really work. To put on your picture. And here are some nice examples of stock images, but they don't work. People want to know with who they work, where they work, so show some attractive pictures. All right, once you have built your advertisement, so it can be a picture or it can be a video, then you also need to write some copy to go with it. What we see, So what we recommend is think about what are the requirements to have to fulfill the job vacancy, to fulfill the job. Think about that really good, because you can't mention, okay, they need to have a master, they need to have 3 years of experience, they need to speak 3 languages, they need to work with Excel or Word or the Microsoft package. Think about it, okay, what is the really requirement to have? And we prefer to mention only 1 or 2 maximum, but then think about what's in it for the candidates. Like I already said in the beginning, you're targeting people who might have a job already, and you have to convince them to switch jobs. So think about what you can offer them, which is really unique for your company. And avoid cliches. I think everyone says work hard, play hard, and you need to be flexible, and etc., etc. Well, be creative, think out of the box, and I know that's also a cliche, which people use a lot. But think about what makes your company or job function unique to actually attract the right candidates.
Just to pick up on that, there's a point from Romy saying if you use client-generated pictures, they will know who the client is, and that's difficult as a recruitment company. Yeah, you understand. But unfortunately, we have done tests on that. That's the way for a successful campaign. So I think it would be probably better for you to then agree or negotiate with your customer that you have exclusivity, or that at least they pay you for the advertising. But that might otherwise kind of be difficult, and it's probably going to be a better use of your money to use actual pictures of customers.
Mm-hmm. What also is important, if you use pictures of people, then of course you need to ask permission at them, because you can't use pictures on social media if they haven't allow you to do that.
Yeah, true. Okay, and then there was a question from Sarah. Have you some tips? And by the way, thank you for all those questions. It's really good fun for us if we can make it interactive. Tips for using text on your pictures and to find the balance between giving lots of information and not too much and make it look nice.
Yeah. All right. So what we recommend is to mention the function title really upfront. If you're using a picture, then put a banner on it with the function title. If you're using a video, then mention it in the first shot already. Who are you looking for? And well, actually, we still use the balance. 20% can be text on your image and 80% not. And we also use that in videos. So I would recommend to go for that balance. But of course, if you're using Instagram feed, you have the option to actually write copy underneath your picture, underneath your video. With Instagram stories and Instagram reels, I wouldn't really recommend to write lots of copy because it will go above your video, which isn't really pleasant because you can't see your video anymore. But with Instagram feed, you have the option to actually write a text, and here you can find some copy which we used for Westmalle. Here's another example, I've already said it, but think about what is the really requirement to have, what's in it for the candidates, and be creative. All right. Now, how much budget do you need to provide to actually run recruitment campaigns on Instagram? Well, you can run a recruitment campaign for minimum €1 a day. Do we recommend that? No, because €1, you won't reach lots of people. I think you might reach no one. But we recommend to use minimum €10 a day per ad set. So that you can actually, you give the algorithm an option to find your candidates and to show lots of impressions. And what we do for our recruitment campaigns is we have a budget of €40 a day. So we test 4 ad sets. We test different audiences, we test different visuals, we test a video versus a picture, we test different placements of Instagram. So we use €40 a day. But you can already start with €10 a day with one advertising. Now, what defines a cost? It is a bit of a black box, but Instagram is a bidding platform. So you're bidding against people that also want to reach your audience. That's one. Second one is estimated action rates. And this is really, really a black box. But Facebook and Instagram will rate your account. So if you already have done recruitment campaigns in the past, then the performance of your campaigns will be better. If you already have an Instagram profile and if people ask you questions and you immediately react to it, then your estimated action rate will be higher. But we don't know how high or what your rate is. So it is a bit of a black box. And then the third one, and this is really an important one, you have to give some value to the users, because Facebook, well, they have the option they give you advertising options to actually do recruitment campaigns. But of course, if people click on it and they go immediately away, then Facebook thinks, you're not really giving value to the users and it's not a good campaign. So all those things you need to keep in mind. And it will increase your cost, of course, if your campaign isn't working well. All right. Now, once you have developed your campaign and you have put your campaign live, then of course you need to manage your campaign. Like I already said, there are lots of things to keep in mind to track all the data points that Instagram gives you. And it is complex. Here you can see all the different steps you need to take to actually put on a campaign live. But most recruiters fall back on job boards because it's easy. But we have some really great news because with the simple software, you can easily set up your campaigns without any marketing know-how. We come back to that later. Let's see. Yeah. So I also told you that I'm going to share some successful experiments with you. Here you can see an A/B test where the only difference is a picture. So it was for a client in Brussels airport, and they were looking for an electrician. Yeah, sorry, because it was in French, I was a bit confused.
Just to show you we're a global company.
Maybe you can launch the poll.
Yes.
Yes. So which one do you think that worked best on Instagram feed? We use the same function title, we use the same branding, of course. We use the same copy, and the only thing that is different is a picture. What do you think, the right one or the left one?
Well, most people think the one on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by far, 99% of people think the one on the right is working better. So that's interesting.
All right. Well, that's what we thought as well, because it shows a human, it shows someone you are going to work with. But actually, the one on the left had more applications, and the cost per application was €10.74. So the one on the left worked better. The budget here, the cost per application, is, to be very clear, the media budget that you give to Facebook divided by the applications that you get from that specific advertisement. Then another one, we're not going to launch. Oh, or is it already? Yeah, all right.
I was told
Yeah,
watch
no worries.
when we show it.
No worries.
So that's what I do. But this will be the last one.
Yes.
Let's see.
So here, this was an advertisement for Neuhaus, the really good Belgian chocolate brand. And they were looking for a maintenance supervisor or a team leader maintenance. They gave us two options for function title, and they asked us for some advice. And we said, okay, we're going to test them both with the same visual, with the same copy, and the same branding.
Yeah. And wait, that's weird. Sorry, the result went well. Wait, there we go. Yes, 72% of people think the one on the right performed better.
All right. That's actually true. The one on the right was probably more clear to the target audience. We had 41 applications for a cost of €12. The one on the left had a high cost, so of course we put that advertisement offline, and we went through with the one on the right. So
there's a question on Romy. Maybe you mentioned already, but do we run the A/B test within the same ad, or do you make separate campaigns?
Well, it's in the same campaign, but it's on a different ad set level with a different ad.
Yeah.
All right. Another one?
No.
All right. Okay. What you can also A/B test is placements. Here you can see Instagram Reels and Instagram Feed. We're not going to.
Apparently not.
All right.
You're right. We'll just show the numbers.
All right. So here we saw, which was quite interesting, we thought. Instagram Reels gave us 37 applications, which is really, really a lot, for a cost of €6.66, which is, of course, number of the devil. And Instagram Feed was a lot higher cost comparing to Instagram Reels. If you're looking for the same function title in a different region, I can already say you that it's not going to be the same. There isn't a silver bullet. We haven't found it yet. I think there isn't one. So you have to test it every time again when you're launching a campaign. And then, of course, the platform. We talked about Instagram, but you can also launch campaigns on Facebook. Here we had a campaign for Tom & Co, who were looking for a sales manager, and we tested Instagram feed versus Facebook feed. And we saw that, Instagram feed was working okay. We had 2 applications for a cost of €8, but Facebook feed, we were blown away by the result. We had 76 applications for a cost of €2. So what we do recommend is if you're planning to do recruitment campaigns on social media, which we think you should, then also keep in mind to use different platforms and to A/B test everything.
Yeah, there's a question on Robbie on how many of these were useful, and you're right. And we're not going to go into that level of detail, but we also take into account for our customers how many candidates are confirmed to go to the next round. So that's actually another conversion point which we use. It was a bit too detailed to go to that level for this webinar, but you can actually also use that data to manage your campaigns.
Yeah.
Campaign ran about 30 days. Question from Andy there.
Yes. Here you have another example of Instagram feed versus Facebook feed, and here we saw that Instagram wasn't working. So that can be that only Facebook is working, and that's why we say always experiment with all the social media platforms when you want to attract candidates. Then, of course, with all those A/B tests, you get lots of data coming in, and we actually used Google Data Studio in the past for our clients. On the left, you can also see the funnel, so the impressions, the vacancy visits, applications, etc., and then eventually the hires as well. But Google Data Studio is also a free platform which you can download, and you can build customized dashboards in that platform. All right. Then I think.
I think maybe just to wrap up. Sorry, I agree to you. We're going to wrap up, but I'll do wrap up very quickly. Sorry, because I want to. In the interest of time, I want to go a bit quicker. So Stephanie has explained, why it's so complicated, and it is quite complicated to do so. It is very well possible, and you can find in the academy more detailed explanations for you to do so. Obviously, we have, as mentioned already by Stephanie, we've developed a tool which will basically tackle all 3 stages within our software. So the setup, the development, and the management phase of the software, which we'll then use also to automatically optimize campaigns as we go along, which makes actually your job a lot easier. So the only thing you would have to do is just write text for the vacancy, find the right visuals, and then just put a budget on there and look at the candidates as they come in. And that's kind of because our tool will manage the setup. We will take care of the pixel. We will take care of the analytics. We will take care of looking for the right conversion objective or the right objective for that particular campaign. And just, as we kind of, quite keen on showing this, as of last week, you don't even have to write texts anymore because we will take care of that. And we promise to show you in 5 minutes how we can actually go live with Le Pain Quotidien. I'm just looking here how I can share my screen. And there you go. Let's go live. So what you can see here is a beta version of our software. So this is a very new, very recent. So bear with me if maybe some of the buttons won't work. But we agreed we're going to look for a restaurant manager. I already filled in the name. We're going to say this is for Le Pain Quotidien. There you go. And then we're going to look for something which is quite similar. Let's just say because they have quite a bit of it's kind of retail linked. We're going to link with Job Assistant. We're going to go in an English campaign. And let's say we're going to look for them. I think they're present in London.
Yeah.
They are Belgian company in London. Why wouldn't we advertise for that? So let's just save the targeting objectives here very quickly. So that's saved. We're then going to go to the advertising. We want to do this. And as you could only choose Instagram, but as Stephanie showed, it's always good to test a couple of channels next to each other. So we would advise at least to test 2 channels. Let's do this for Facebook and Instagram. And here you can write the text for the ad yourself, right? Or you could ask OpenAI, which is the artificial intelligence engine we've linked with, to write an example. And as you can see here, it will write text, which is actually pretty spot on for a first version. You can, of course, if you want, make some changes. But in the interest of time, I'm just going to go with the text they proposed. Let's continue. I've already looked for the logo of Le Pain Quotidien. So I've kind of put that here. You can just upload that. Let's upload some visuals that I found here. So these are some visuals that I found, which are actually pretty nice, on the website of Le Pain Quotidien. And then I'm going to ask our engine to start making some ads. And what you can see here, we're taking the function name, we're looking at the visuals, we're putting the text there. We've immediately made 3 different variants. So you can A/B test, right? If you would want, you can change a bit of the cropping here. You can kind of show this, for instance, for the team. You could change the banner. Basically, you don't need Photoshop anymore. This will also look and automatically take the primary colors of the logo and make the first proposal. So we'll just save, have a look at maybe Instagram. That looks nice. Also,
it makes me hungry.
It makes you hungry. I was afraid you were going to say, it makes me want to go back to my old job. Let's save that here. So that's already. And then we, of course, need a vacancy page to convince people to actually, once they've clicked on the advertising, you want to send them to a page. We're also going to ask the AI to write the text for that. I found a little text about Le Pain Quotidien on their website. I think they offer a great team, good food all day. And what's else a benefit?
A team building.
Team building, activities. Because it's an enthusiastic company, we're going to ask for the tone of voice of the vacancy to be written in an enthusiastic way. And then again, we're going to ask the AI to basically do a proposal of a first text. There you go, part of a global chain of restaurants. That's quite interesting. So the AI found itself, then they looked and they understood that this is a bigger chain. Again, this is a proposal. So this is not what you should be using. You could, for instance, say, well, if you're not required to monitor bookings as a restaurant manager, we can delete that part, right? Already the visuals have been retaken here also. They have great visuals, I have to say. It's pretty good visuals on that. You save that here, and then basically you could, for instance, ask our chatbot to ask a question about are you willing to work in the weekends? There you go. And then people who apply will have to also answer that question. So actually you know a bit more about, next to the question about language skills, etc., etc. And then basically, there you go. You publish, you choose your budget, and then you will be sent to the Stripe engine to pay. And once you do that, your campaign goes live with all the tracking, with all the optimization, because our tool will then also start testing what is working best and how you can reach the best audience. I think we've done it in less than 5 minutes, actually.
Yeah.
So there you go. I'm going to give you back the screen, Steph.
Thanks. I'm going to
stop sharing.
Yes.
Share back to you.
Again. There you go.
Thank you, Anne. So some people are impressed by that, and our IT team will be very happy to hear that. We are impressed also.
Yes.
For once with the IT team. I know they're listening. I know they're listening, so I'm going to get some shit about this. We love you guys.
All right. Now, like Mark already told you, there is some tracking to do. If you're willing to do it on your own, you can. But if you use Simple, you can combine all those platforms in one easily to use tool. And of course, there is a Simple Academy. Maybe, Mark, you can share the link once again.
Yes, I'll do that.
So people can have a look. You can find some webinar recordings over there from our TikTok webinar, which we did with an account manager of TikTok. You can find white papers, all for free, over there. So have a look. And maybe we should also, the Academy is actually in...
our software.
Yeah, it's not the software which Mark showed yet. But I hope it will be.
If you send a nice email to Stephanie at simple.be, I'm sure she will give you access to the beta version of our software.
And of course, you can choose some professional services, but that's optional, where we can help you with your recruitment campaign. All right, I think we've come to the end.
We have indeed. We've running 4 minutes over time. But let's just have a look at whether there's any more questions here in the chat. What's the price of the platform? It's between 99 euros and 349 euros per month, Magali, depending on the level you want and the amount of campaigns you want to put live. But you can find that data or that pricing on our website. Any other questions? don't see anything else coming in. I'm sorry. There you go. Lots of thank yous.
All right.
So I think, yes, we will send a recording there. And people apparently have learned a lot. So great
Maybe
stuff.
we can launch a last
We
poll.
do a last poll where you
Yes.
can just basically confirm and give us some points. So we can tell our bosses we've done our job today. And they can believe us. That, there you go. So if you could maybe just give us a little score here, and then all right. So there you go. I think just because there's still no more questions.
All right. If you still have some questions in the next couple of days, please don't hesitate to connect with us on LinkedIn or send us an email. We're really happy to help you with your recruitment campaigns on social media, because we do think that you will find your candidates over there. All right, then I want to thank you to joining us. We were with a lot, I think, over 700 something.
Yes. Very nice.
So it was really nice having you as an audience. It was nice that you had some questions, of course. But if you have some questions, please connect with us on LinkedIn. And I hope to see you again in one of our next webinars. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.